Make it loud for the very funny Josh Johnson.
I don't know if y'all saw it yet, but Justin Timberlake got arrested. Justin Timberlake got arrested for a DWI in what he was in the Hamptons. How fast do you have to be going as a white man in the Hamptons to get pulled over? Because I was reading the story, and this man gets pulled over, and then I guess his friends noticed that he left or whatever, so then they also left, and then they saw him getting pulled over, so they pulled up, and they were trying to like beg the cop to cut him a break. They're like, he's I don't know if he was close to home, but they were like making excuses for him. And in my head, even in that moment, I was like, why didn't y'all give him a ride? Like, that's... Justin Timberlake is so rich. How do you have all that money and you don't have a driver? That's crazy. That's so irresponsible. You got all the NSYNC money. Could have hired one of them to drive. I was reading the story. It was heartbreaking. Not even as a, I don't know what's happening. I truly don't. I truly have no idea. But like, that shit sounded like an attack. God, who makes that their alarm? God damn. That's the most savage shit. It feels like my high school bully came to the show. That is wild. No, you're fine. Life happens, but you gotta pick a different one, because that feels so crazy. Because the first time I heard it, I was like, maybe I'm a little too hot in this hoodie. Maybe I'm about to faint because I feel like I'm outside right now. And then I heard it again, I was like, nah, that's crickets. That's... Jeez, what? I didn't know we had beef like that. You were over here like... And I'm gonna sit in the front too. I got his ass. No. I got him. Man, no, it feels like an ex paid you. That is so wild. No, I'm gonna wait till he think he making one of his little points. No, I got his ass. Oh, God. Oh. No. I don't know. I feel weird about it. I feel like maybe you look at Justin Timberlake and whatever hex Britney Spears put on is working. It's working overtime. And fame is a very interesting thing. Fame is a mystery. It really is, because Justin Timberlake is doing an arena tour. A whole arena tour. But when he got pulled over and they asked him to step out of the car, the cop didn't know who he was. The cop didn't know who he was because the cop was too young. And I don't know about you, but that hurt me. I was reading the article and it said that the cop was too young to know, and I think I got 3 wrinkles on my knuckles. Right then, I was like, No, it was absolutely insane. Doesn't know who he was. Like if only Justin had been pulled over by a single mom of 2. You know what I mean? Just a millennial single mom of 2. She would have been like, I'll give you a ride. Come on, Justin. No, put the lights on and everything. Woo, woo, we gotta get Justin home. Then they took that man to jail to take a picture. That picture, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's not an album cover. That face that Justin made is the most encapsulating face of a man in trouble I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? Like you can see in his eyes, he thinking about how he'll have to call Jessica. Whoa. That was wild. And then this is my conspiracy theory. There's nothing to back up what I'm saying. There's not a shred of evidence, and there's not a word from anyone that backs up what I'm saying. But I think, okay. Do y'all remember Justin? You remember that decade that Justin wanted to be black? Do you remember that? Do you remember that decade that Justin was like, y'all remember that, right? That I feel like at first when he got there and they flashed the picture, and also I'm sure that they turned the brightness up extra on mug shots because like people who you could tell were ready don't look ready when they take the picture. That thing is so bright, it must be prolonged, make you open your eyes to be like, huh. Like it's. I think after he took the picture and he's also sobering up a bit, he was like, wait. This is just street cred. Let me go ahead and milk it, right? Because there have been varying reports on whether or not Justin was handcuffed, right? And personally, my conspiracy, I don't think he was. I feel like Justin was like, look, I know I'm about to go, but can you cuff me real quick? And the cop was like, what? It's like, can you cuff me real quick? Like, just, you know, there's gonna be people waiting out there. Can you cuff me real quick? And he's like, I don't even know you. Like, please just do it. He's like, I'm not gonna do that, but I'll just stand in front of the door, hold the door open. He was like, okay, all right. And then he walked out, and if you look at the thing, he's got his hands clasped together, but you don't see any like loose chain dangling. And when you zoom into the picture, it looked like a little bit of leather on that. Like, that's a bracelet. That's a bracelet, but then JT over here doing his best Malcolm X impression. My man. Another black man locked up. Yeah. Actually, okay. Did y'all see the white woman that got in trouble for saying the N-word? I know, you said which one. Okay, fair enough. Okay. I say the because this was the for me. It's like other people were saying it, people were saying it all the time, but this one felt especially crazy, so I followed the story because it is captivating. Okay, so basically, where do I even start? There's a thing called trad wife. Now, trad wife is short for traditional wife, right? Trad wife is like this content thing that they do on TikTok. It's spilled over to Instagram a little bit, and it's basically women doing like stuff around the house while telling women to be better women, right? It's just like, why don't you be a lady while she makes a pie or something? It's I don't get it. It's not for me. I'm not who watches it. But basically, there was this young white woman that was over here cooking something. It didn't look done. And maybe it was done. Maybe she's bad at it. I don't know. But it did not look done. But then she's talking about her friends, and then she says, because then some of my friends out here are just like, out here dating these guys, and broke ass niggas, right? And she says it. She says it without missing a beat. She says it like you're not gonna hear it, right? So then, of course, everyone who saw this, like, it started this frenzy online, right? And so there were all these people, she did it on TikTok, there was all these people commenting, replying, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? Are you trolling? All stuff like that, right? And then she makes another video, and she's like, look, I made a video earlier that offended a community or something, and like, and I've really listened to the feedback, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't really give a care. Like, I don't know. It's like, so then they found her job, right? Which is crazy, because you a trad wife. Why you working? Why are you? You know what I mean? Why are you? You're a trad. You're supposed to be a traditional. Why are you working at all? Are you can't trad wife on the side. You can't. There's no such thing as halfway crooks. You know what I mean? You gotta be all in or all out, right? And so then they found her job, then they got her fired from her job, right? So then everyone was like talking about how, she clearly got fired, even though they don't say her name. They issued a press release, because why else would they do it? And they were like, yeah, certain individual's not working here anymore. So then, she starts trying to cozy up to, like, Newsmax and like One Nation News and just a lot of the alt-right on Twitter and everything. And she takes this spin of like, I was canceled, right? So she gets on Newsmax real quick, but she also just doesn't quite have the juice. You know what I mean by that? She doesn't quite have the presence and the energy of like a real racist that's gonna be a newscaster. You know what I mean? Like, she just doesn't have it. Like, when you're watching her, you're like, she's saying bad things and they're annoying, but I'm not angry. She just doesn't have the oomph to get me there. You know what I mean? Like, I've just never seen diet racism before, but that was it. So then she makes more videos trying to double down harder. And in these upcoming videos, she just gets way worse with it. Gets like even more bigoted with it. So she's tweeting the N-word all the time. She's been tweeting the N-word nonstop since she got fired, right? And now she's making videos where she's saying the F-word, right? And so she's just going after everybody, just trying to prove how terrible that she is, right? And so then she starts trying to cozy up to a lot of these, like, especially neo-Nazis as much as she can. And then a turn takes place. An incredible turn that I could not have predicted. One of the most insane things that has maybe happened so far this century, the neo-Nazis start rejecting her as a psyop. Because they feel what I feel. They see the video and they're like, you don't mean it though. Like, it's not... It's not like coming out of your stomach, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, you're not even saying it with bass, like, like, and so then they were like, no, don't trust her, okay? Don't listen to her, don't follow her. She working for the CIA, she probably a Fed. They all turned on her. They started bullying her. It was absolutely insane. It was one of those things where then she keeps trying to cozy up to him. She keeps trying to like take pictures with him. She's going to events and stuff like that. And some of the ones that roll with her are rolling with her in real time, and they're like making fun of how other people are making fun of her. But you can tell she's still not like in yet, She's not like with them hard. But then there are some people that can't stand her so much. This happened like a week ago. So in the course of 3 days, they can't stand her so much that they start digging up her old tweets, right? So then another thing I never would have seen coming, they dig up her old tweets and they find old, not racist tweets from like 2 years ago where she was telling somebody, hey, that's actually appropriation. You might not want to do that. And so now she getting canceled by the neo-Nazis for old, not racist tweets. So then she over here fighting for her life, trying like N-word, F-word, everything, just throwing it all out there, trying to see what sticks. And then other people will comment under her on Twitter like, is this you, bitch? Miss Stolen Land. You know? And she just played it. She played it poorly. That's what happened. She could have had a real shot. She could have. But she doesn't have enough of the real. You can tell she's not really racist. I know it's a weird thing to say about somebody who's been saying the N-word nonstop for a week, but you can just tell she doesn't have the fire in her. You know? That's not how you do it. You were making racist people uncomfortable. There were racist people commenting under her like, this is uncouth. That's not how you do it. If you really want to be somebody as a racist, if you really want to make waves as a bigot, you start out slow. You start with a bunch of slow and steady dog whistles over decades. You know what I mean? You never say the word outright. You throw out a thug here every once in a while. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, like on a holiday, you can get real crazy with it. You can do like a animals or something. It's like, get people going, you know? Plant your feet, but don't dig too deep. And then after a while, you know, you start to ingratiate yourself. They start to be like, hey, she's one of us. And then they bring you in, and maybe they bring you in on a temporary basis, and they give you like a little guest spot every now and again. And then after a couple decades, you get a hosting gig, you know? Because be honest, like if a week from now, Megyn Kelly said the N-word, we'd be like, yup. We expected that. She's been earning it over decades. The expectation lands right on the strip perfectly. And then we also find out that she might be single, so you're not only not a trap wife, you're not a wife. What are you doing? Where's your man right now? Like you weren't a trap wife. You were working. You were a mom, but you were working, and you're a single working mom. That's a bigger demographic to appeal to. She really put herself in the position where she really needs a husband like this.
Little Rock, Arkansas, please make some noise for Josh Johnson!
I don't know if y'all heard, and I am not an expert. I'm still learning facts about what happened as it's happening, okay? But this whole like Signal group chat thing is one of the... It's truly one of the more insane stories I've seen in a while. Because look, let's be clear with one another, okay? I can only pass so much judgment because I'm not good with two things: phones and secrets. Don't tell me a secret. Don't. You know, I try to be a good friend, and sometimes being a good friend comes with people trusting you with their secrets, and I wish they wouldn't. I really wish they wouldn't, because as an example, I have a friend who she went to Barbados, and I don't think she was drinking or anything, but they drive on the other side of the road and stuff, and she came back from that trip. I try to be a good friend. I asked her how her day's going. I asked her what her trip was like, you know, just inquiring about her life, trying to make a memory together. Oh, it wasn't so funny when I told you that story about ha ha ha, right? And so sure enough, I asked her how was the trip, and she looking shell shocked. She like, huh. I'm like, hey, you okay? What happened? And she was like, I was driving at night and I forgot which side of the road I was supposed to be on. I just felt a thump and then I didn't know what to do, so I just kept driving and now I just know that. Even if I wanted to turn her in, I don't know who to call or anything. I'm like, hey, anybody hit recently? By a woman driving on the wrong side of the road? And not only do I not know what to do with that, because I was trying to be a good friend, I was trying to listen, right? That was a mistake. Not only do I just know that now, but I just told all of you. Like, don't trust me with a secret. I'm also not great with phones. I'm really not. It's embarrassing. You know, I have Gen Z friends who look at me like I'm super old because I don't know what anything is. And then it doesn't help that anytime they helping me download a new app or get on a new game or something, I don't know what happens to you. I used to judge people that were older than me so hard, but I don't know what happens to you when a young person is showing you something and you just can't seem to keep your mouth closed. They're showing me how to do it, and I'm like, uh-huh. I'm not old enough for tongue yet, but that's coming, you know? I used to show my granddad stuff, he'd be like, oh. Ain't no way. And so they're showing me how to use stuff on my own phone, and I can't keep my mouth closed, so I know I'm not good with phones. Okay? I be handling my phone. You'd be ashamed of me. You saw me on a day with my phone, flashlight on half the time. Out here struggling, wondering why the battery died. They don't make them like they used to. They don't make them at all like these. I also talk about how they used to make phones. That's how I know I'm also getting older. I remember other phones. They don't make them like they used. That battery used to last through the full week. Meanwhile, I'm spotlighting my feet. Look like my feet are on patrol. No, it's insane. And so they're showing me stuff with the phone. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what Signal was. When I saw the story break and I saw that all of these higher-ups, all these people who are supposed to be handling sensitive information at all times, classified information at all times, were using Signal. They were using the Signal app. In my head, this is how bad it is. In my head, I was like, well, didn't the government isn't that the government app? Like, weren't they just using the government app? And then someone explained to me that Signal is just like American WhatsApp. And I was like, oh, that is bad. That is bad. I'm all for modernization, too. I'm all for keeping things as modern as possible and learning new stuff. I love when these Gen Z kids are, yeah, that is a loud one. I was trying to, I didn't know what would be ruder, you know what I mean? Like, because I almost said bless you, but then I was like gonna call attention to it, but y'all are like too polite. That is crazy. I was gonna try to talk a little louder, gloss over it and everything, but y'all really at home together. I think that's beautiful that y'all could be like in the mezzanine, bless you! Yeah. No, I genuinely, when they're showing me stuff, I really appreciate it. I enjoy learning new things and everything. Sometimes I'm intimidated by how much I don't know about a program, but baby steps, you learn stuff. And when I heard that they were doing all this stuff on Signal, I was like, maybe that's too modern. Whatever happened to a phone call? Do you know what I mean? In the movies, aren't they always on the phone doing this? Where they're like, yeah, strike. Like that. You get taken less seriously as a country when you over here calling bomb strikes with emojis. Do you know what I mean? When they make the movie of America Now and you're in it, you don't want to be in it going, bloop, 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 bloop. Because everybody old, so they got the phone on loud, and so it's all the... You know, because you keep it on loud when you type in when you old and everything. I do. Anyway, like... Yeah. You know what I mean? Way less badass than like, yes, okay. 1,600 hours, all right. All right. Mission go. Like that's at least in that Top Gun Maverick world. Imagine, when I saw Top Gun Maverick, I was like, I get it now. I get it. A part of me was like, I get it. And Top Gun Maverick did a great job of like not saying which country they were killing people from or anything exactly. You know it's kind of Russian, but like, is it really? And then sure enough, John Hamm standing there. That last sequence. They about to fly off that mission. You worried about Tom Cruise and everything. It's like, hey, these kids are his responsibility, you know? You worried about Rooster. Is he gonna rise to the occasion, you know? He gonna feel his daddy's footsteps. And then John Hamm standing there, arms crossed, and he just goes, send them. That is wild. Imagine if that movie was just John Hamm being like, tick, 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 tick. Bloop. Bloop, bloop. Bloop. I'm sorry, I'm getting a call real quick. Oh, they got away. And so there's all the talk around it as well. It's so hard to understand any story that comes out now because the spin is as fast as we disseminate the information. You know? So as soon as we were even hearing about this, there were people that were like, actually, they leaked that on purpose. They added this journalist to the group chat on purpose so that they could look like such a cohesive administration, and then he would leak it, and then they'd be like, yeah, we all friends. Because if you're not familiar with what happened, there was a strike that was being planned in Yemen, right? And there's a journalist that accidentally got added to the group chat, and the people in the group chat are like J.D. Vance and some heads of like intelligence and Pete Hegseth and stuff like that. And no one at first was really owning up to who added him. We later find out that I'm pretty sure Walls added him, and it This journalist didn't even think that it was real. It was so dumb. When it happened, this dude, you know, I'm assuming, because he's also a bit older. No. And he said he didn't know it was real until they actually bombed Yemen. And then he, you know, comes forward with, hey, they sent me these plans. He had already left the group as well. When he realized, you know what I mean, you're not supposed to be in the room. In the room like, oh. Let me go ahead and notify the right people. Because I've been added to a group chat before that I wasn't supposed to be in. It happens, you know? You just type in these random numbers, add people to the chat. One time, I was chilling on Saturday, Because I'm also. Open it up, and it's just like 6 numbers and just one text. So they clearly just started it. And it says, "You coming?" I could have been a good person. I could have let them know, "Hey, everybody, wrong person in here. I don't recognize any of these numbers. I don't think y'all know me, but have a blessed day." But I didn't do that. That day, evil did win. And so, you coming, we're waiting on you, right? And so I was like, trying to make up my mind. And then they text back in all caps, "What?" with an exclamation point and a question mark and an exclamation point. "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not sure about it. I don't know if I feel like it today." And they were like, "We are all waiting on you. We're all waiting on you right now, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, let me get things together." And sure enough, I was watching TV and I forgot that I was doing this, so some time did pass. And finally I got another text. I was like, "Hello," all caps, question mark, question mark, question mark. So they mad. And I was like, "Oh, sorry, traffic." And they text back, "Traffic?" with a question mark. I'm like, "Yeah, it's crazy out here." And then they text back, "Aren't you upstairs?" And admittedly, that was too big of a swing to take, so I was like, "Oh, yeah, I meant traffic, like, in my mind. Like, there's too much going on right now." And they were like, "Come down here now," right? And then I text back, "What if I don't feel like it?" And then they text me, "We've been waiting on you, only you, this entire time, and the wedding is in an hour and a half." And so I text back, "I don't love him," right? And I see bubbles, right? I see the 3 bubbles going. That bubble is furious. It's disappearing a little bit, whoop, and then like coming right back. So in my head, they cursing me out, right? And then it finally comes through, and it's just 3 letters. It's, "Who?" And I was like, "Okay, thank goodness. That was too big of a swing to take. I'm glad that I'm not the bride." And I still don't know who I am in the group. And so So now I'm like, hey, because now I'm curious. Now I'm more curious than I am worried about being caught. And genuinely, I was like, why didn't they just, like, if we in the same house, why didn't they just yell? Like, why didn't they? Do you have me? Like, most families would just be like, come on down. Why are you texting? So then I text, don't even respond to the who. I just text, how big is our house? Because to me, this must be the Home Alone house. If they are texting me and I've been upstairs this entire time and they waiting this long, it must be such a big house no one can be bothered to walk up. And they text back, how big is our house, with a question mark? I'm like, yeah, how big is it? And then they text, are you not at your apartment? I was like, okay, downstairs does make sense now. It makes sense why they wouldn't come up. Okay, I get you. Everybody is on point except for me. I understand now. And so then I text back, look, yeah, I've thought about it. I've thought it over. And I just don't feel like coming, right? Quickly text back, it is your sister's wedding and you will support her. And I text back, nah, dog, right? And I knew I messed up because they tried to call me, right? Finally, I had to be like, okay, look, I'm not your relative, with a question mark. I'm just like a random guy. I was just joking. But yeah, you should probably text whoever you think you're texting because they were very late. And I just see bubbles, gone, bubbles, gone, bubbles, gone, bubbles, gone. And I know I'm getting cussed out. Like, it's bubbles, gone. And then finally the message comes through and it says, I don't have time to deal with you today. But please believe when I have the time, I will be addressing you thoroughly. I've never heard a threat like that before. Thoroughly. And so I text back, you text me. So, when it comes to the signal chat, I'm just glad it didn't happen to me. Because I would have made things infinitely worse. They would have been like, we're go for strike in Yemen. I'm like, hey. Y'all ever ate there though? Like, some good spots. Why don't we just let the plane take a day off? Like, chill. They'd be like, who is this? And I'd be like, y'all text me, all right? Asking me who this is. That's like one of the top 5 Southern pet peeves, is like calling the wrong number, and you called the wrong number, and then you're like, who is this? And they're like, you called me. Explain yourself. Who are you? You the one in my house right now with your voice. You're the intruder. Explain yourself.
And so, there's this whole thing. We still don't even know the half of it, of what's been going on with Signal, because we also don't know how long they've been using Signal. We don't know why they weren't using more secure methods. And then through, I'm pretty sure, a German publication, they find that some of the top brass in the government are being so unserious with their data that they were able to deliver messages just from personal emails, old emails, and I don't know, man, this is pretty bad. You know what I mean? I didn't recognize how bad it was, and I think a lot of the general public don't really feel like it was that bad, because people say it's a successful mission. That's why some people think the leak was on purpose, because it's like all they did was leak a successful mission. And it's like, morality aside, of what a successful mission means for a country that, I don't know, like, has anybody checked? Are we at war with Yemen? I don't know. Mission success, like, but you bombed, why? You didn't even explain why. I feel like no one's even asking why. They're just like, man, do you see that they text the wrong number? And so you have these people appearing before Congress getting grilled by Democrats, which just doesn't really mean much, if we're being honest. Like, getting grilled by Democrats is like getting grilled by a step parent. It's like, you're not my real... But what are you gonna do, though? What are you gonna do about it? It's like the first time you get big enough to really step to your dad, and you know you should do it, but you're like, what you gonna do, though? I'll show you how to use your phone, old man. I'm training you now. We the same height. No, it's truly devastating. It's bad because... Never mind the fact that there are so many leaks, so many breaches, so much hacking going on, but there are still, like, potentially entities from other countries that have infiltrated through other hacks that we forgot about because we get hacked so much we don't really care. I knew a dude when I was growing up that had his house robbed so much he moved and didn't tell anybody, but left some of the stuff so they would only rob that place. Bit by bit, consistently. And it feels like that's what we do with our data. We're like, they're gonna get it, let's just parcel it out. And so you see these officials appear before Congress, and people all of a sudden are getting a very abstract interpretation of what war plans are. Because they're being asked point blank by journalists, like, were those war plans? And they were like, For a group that I'm telling you, I'm positive despises poetry majors. I know for a fact you hate liberal arts, but when they asked you to your face that they were war plans, it's like, what is truly? What is truly an outline of actions, if not enacted upon? Be fit for me? To speak truly of what war is. Does war not start in the soul? War as a concept is all around us. Love is war. Pain is war. Life is truly war. Yeah, but the text message where they said the date and the time and where the pilot was gonna be are those war plans. What does it mean to have a plan, As Mike Tyson once said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. As the old Southern proverb goes, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Got asked in front of Congress point blank. This was a huge mistake, right? I'm pretty sure it was Walls, maybe it was somebody else, but he was like, No. It's all right, bro. Okay, do you? Oh. Because I wish I knew enough about how intelligence works, and I wish that I knew enough about how strikes work to explain fully how bad this is. But I think we know. I think we as a society kind of know as soon as you hear the whole story, like, that doesn't sound great. You wouldn't want someone to plan a surprise party like that. Imagine. Your friends try to get you together, and they talking about you so much that one of your friends accidentally adds you, and it's like, well, he's right here. Doesn't that kind of ruin the entire party? No. So much around phones that people don't understand. There was one thing, I didn't understand this until recently. I didn't know that you don't know, you have no idea who you are to a woman until you know how you're saved in her phone. Guys, every man in here, we are not ready for the names, for the shorthand. You know how when you save a name, it goes first, last, company? They using that line too. We are not ready to find out how we are saved in the phone. Telling, that's what telling is. I wish I was wrong. I wish it was just me. I wish it was just me getting bullied in other women's phones. These are my friends. These are people I've known for years, and then they saved me some type of way and just never changed it. Years ago, this is why I first had a hunch. Years ago, I was with a friend, and we were hanging out. This has to be like 12, maybe even 15 years ago. We were hanging out, and she lost her phone. So she was like, can you call it for me? And so I call it. And look, we had never been romantic, you know? And we had decided a long time ago to just be friends, right? You know, and just calling. I'm hearing a little... And then I find it in between the couch cushions, and my name saved at her phone was Nope. Guys, we're not ready. There's no world where we're ready for how we are saved. And okay, all right. Some of them are so accurate as well that it's like you'll never recover. Okay, I had a friend who, she was hooking up with this guy, and I guess it was a running joke between her and her friends. This is insane. To me, this is insane. It's not my joke. This is what I saw. This is what I saw because I was being nosy, because I was like, I can't be the only one. I needed to not be the only one, because Nope lasted. That stayed with me, okay? So I was like, let me see what other people are saying, right? And they say this one guy in her phone, and it just said, Little Hitler. And I was like, can you please explain why Little Hitler is calling you right now? Their reasoning was he had kind of a comb over that was a little messy. I was like, hey, you went straight to Hitler? What's wrong with y'all? There was one time where I was out to lunch with a friend and her phone was going off and it was facing up and I wasn't trying to be nosy this time. I felt vindicated. Nope, it's not Hitler. And so I was like, it could be worse. And so her phone was going off, and then finally she went ahead and flipped it. But when she flipped it, she showed it for a second, and I looked, and it said in the phone, saved in her phone as bed bugs. And so I was like, I'm not trying to be in your business or anything. I'm not trying to. I saw when you flipped it over because you had flipped it because I wasn't looking until you flipped it until it was like this, and I was like, what's that over there? And so I didn't see until you flipped it that you had him say as, do you know who is bed bugs? And she was like, just this guy. I was like, does he have bed bugs? And no. He doesn't have bed bugs at his place. She called him bed bugs because she slept with him one time and can't get rid of him. And so when Walls is like, hey, sometimes people get added to the group chat under a different name, under a wrong name. Hadn't that ever happened to you? And then the nation was kind of like, no, I don't think it has. Not like that, not exactly, unless you have them saved different. You know what I mean? Unless you have this journalist saved as like War Buddy. I don't know why you would accidentally add him to the chat. It's one of the first major screw-ups of the administration where they themselves are actually like, uh-oh. Oh no. Look, we didn't add him by accident, because I don't know if you saw this, but we didn't add him by accident, okay? He hacked in. Yeah, this dude hacked in. They ran with it for a day and then it died. Because when you look at the journalist, I'm not trying to make fun of him, but he doesn't look like he really hacking like that. Like that. I know he got glasses, but not everybody with glasses hacks, all right? Jeez. And so now, you know, they've been ordered by a judge to provide all of these backdated signal chats that they're definitely gonna delete. Like, when I heard that, I was like, oh, come on now. That's like in one of those sitcoms, and the woman asked the guy for his phone, and he's like, yeah, just give me 20 minutes. It's like, yeah, that's what they're gonna do. No, it's insane. And it's like, successful mission, but by what metric? Why did we bomb Yemen? I still don't know. I mean, I would keep asking, but I'd probably disappear. Curiosity killed me. And then when they were asked, like, okay, but you're definitely switching things up now, right? Like, you've learned from this mistake, and you're gonna move on, and you're not gonna use Signal anymore. And they, under, I think, oath, went, nah, dawg, nah. Pretty bad. I don't know if y'all saw my man who zoomed into court.
All right, in case you didn't see it, basically, because of the pandemic, ever since the pandemic, court, like as in the American justice system, has started to let people zoom in to some of their cases depending on what it is, which is very progressive. That's wild to let somebody zoom into court and go ahead and give me a head start if I'm found guilty. That's what it is to me. Like, imagine if I had court and they were like, you can zoom in from home. I'm like, all right. A couple days later, they're like, Mr. Johnson, we find you guilty. You know, please report to. I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll be right there. No, but basically, there's a court case where this judge and the lawyers are all in the courtroom, and they let the person that is accused of having a suspended license, they let him zoom into court. And so everybody's there except for him, right? And then he turns his mic and his camera on, and he is driving, all right? It's a suspended license case, but he driving. Suspended license, but you know, he's, you know. And not only is he driving, by the way, he really cutting the wheel when he turns. And so he turns his mic and his camera on, and you can see the judge. Judge is like, And even the judge is like, it's a suspended license case, right? And look, I don't know. I, thank goodness, have never had to go to court or Zoom court, all right? So I don't know what they have to do or what they don't have to do. But in my mind, like, why turn the camera on? Just turn the mic on. But maybe a condition of Zoom court is that you have to turn the camera on too, to make sure you pay attention and everything. Maybe, I don't know. But he turns his camera on, and the judge's like, "Sir, are you driving? Are you driving right now?" And he's like, he couldn't sound happier. My man is like, "Yes, Your Honor, I'm pulling up right now," right? And I want to be clear, he's not pulling up to court. He's pulling up to the doctor's office, right? Because, you know, you can sometimes run some errands while you're doing Zoom court, you know, because you don't have to be there. Once again, this is very progressive. This is like real step forward. This is mind blowing. I wonder who else they let zoom into court. Like, that'd be funny if they let the bailiff zoom in too. Like, the bailiff at home, but he like, "Stop it." Y'all, cut it out. Cut it out. Don't make me. I will mute everybody in here. I don't care. I'll shut it down. And so the judge is like, "Are you driving right now?" He's like, "Yes, but I'm pulling up. You know, I'm about to park right now." And then the judge looks at everybody and goes like, "Wow." It's hard to make a judge say "wow." I've never tried it, but I've watched a lot of court on TV, and I can imagine "wow" isn't said often. You know, I'm sure even the stenographer was sitting there like, and so then he pulls up, and the judge is like, "It's a suspended license case, right?" And then his lawyer is like, "Yes, Your Honor." And he's like, "But he's driving right now. Like, he in the car, like we can see him. I saw movement behind him, which means the car was in motion. He wasn't just sitting in a car, which would still not be advisable to your suspended license case. But like, he wasn't saying car, just movement." They were like, "Yes, Your Honor."
And then he was like, oh, okay. And the judge's name in this case is Cedric Simpson, right? So the guy driving is black, the judge is black. This man is black. He had a black judge, and he had a black judge named Cedric Simpson. He had the blackest judge possible. You had the blackest judge in America as a black man, and you are wasting all of it right now. This is Cedric Simpson. And the way my man was staring at the camera, and then he said, judge says, am I missing something here? Because I know the law. I know so much law, I'm a judge. And I don't know what's going on right now. And so then they were like, no, Your Honor, you're correct. You know, he's driving right now. And his lawyer just over here like, I've watched a lot of judging. I've watched Judge Judy. I've watched Judge Joe Brown, Judge Mathis, and never in the history of judging have I seen a black defendant with a black judge that just was looking at him. And you could tell that Cedric just wanted to be like, nigga. What are you doing? And so he's like, so he has a suspended license case, but he's driving right now. He's driving in front of us. It's on the record that he's driving. So, and then in this moment, you can see Corey is the guy that was driving, right? You could see him realize what's happening on camera. So now he's making the face that the judge made, right? Like now he's like, and at one point, because you know how Zoom does, so anyone making noise, it highlights them for a second, right? And so the judge asked a question like, it's a suspended license case, and he was just driving right now in front of us, and you hear Corey go, And then basically, the Honorable Cedric Simpson was like, I'm gonna need you to drive to jail. But look, there's more to the case. There's actually an incredible amount more to the case, a disappointing amount more to the case. Because basically, this dude spends 2 days in jail, but then it comes to light, I don't know how, probably because of the virality of the clip, that there was actually some form of clerical error way back 2 years ago, so that his license should have never been suspended in the first place. So then he thought he was allowed to drive, right? And so then people come out of the woodwork apologizing, being like, that's so unfair. And then also it was a highlight of local government and how sometimes the government can get things wrong. There's too many people talking to each other. There's too much involved. There's too much paperwork. There's too many wires that can get crossed and everything, because they were like, oh, all you had to do was get this office to speak to this office to reinstate his license, but apparently they never did that, right? So now there was almost like a backlash to the backlash, where people were like, we messed up, we were all laughing at this guy like, what an idiot. Turns out he thought he could drive and everything. So the internet did something it very rarely ever does, ever, for anyone, for any reason. And the internet almost collectively apologized to Corey, right? And it wasn't, obviously to the amount that everyone shared the clip and everyone laughed, but everyone had something to say. Everyone was like, this guy got done dirty and we didn't know enough information. And there was someone else who didn't know enough information, The Honorable Cedric Simpson. There was something about this whole thing that was not sitting right with him, right? And so when Corey showed up for court, for this case, he tells Corey, he's like, I did some digging. I looked at the friend of the court office. I looked at, basically their DMV, looked at municipal offices, took it as far as he could take it, following a paperwork trail, right? As much as possible. And he said, Mr. Harris, who's Corey,
you've actually never had a license. Like you never had a I don't know how we got here. You've never had a license. And then Judge Simpson asked him, he's like, where were you? And I can't remember if he said 2022 or 2023, but he was like, where were you December of 2020, whatever? And he was like, oh, I think I was, still laid up from my accident and everything. He's like, actually, no, you were at the offices getting your state ID renewed, okay? Because you keep getting state IDs and you've never had a license. What are you doing, buddy? You clearly know how to drive. You should just take the test. And then it turns out from digging deeper into Corey and into his cases and into his problems with traffic stops and everything like that, they found where he had actually admitted, apparently on body cam, to police that pulled him over that he didn't have a license on a totally different time, right? So then he had to report back to jail even though he was out on bond because they found a bench warrant for his arrest from another time he was driving without a license. Corey loved driving without a license. Driving without a license is Corey's bread and butter. He loves, there's just something about driving without a license that just, it's scrumptious. And I'm not gonna judge, because I've been there before in some way. Sometimes I do stuff I know I shouldn't do because it's a little bit more fun. Sometimes I'll go to a restaurant and I'll ask for a cup of water, and I get up to the machine and I hit that lemonade. You know what I mean? The sips just taste better when you know you're not supposed to have them. You know what I mean? Walking up to the fountain machine like, this one's on a Wendy's. I got a newfound appreciation for moms this past week. I love my mom. I've always appreciated my mom, but I mean moms as a whole. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, I was just at an outing, and my friend who's a new mom. She had to run and do something, and so she asked me to hold her baby. When I tell you this was the heaviest baby I've ever... The baby didn't look heavy because it's little. So you think little means little weight. And the weight, she handed me the baby, and the baby is not helping me at all. The baby doesn't even wrap his little arm around my neck or anything. Just the baby trying to be heavy, just doing this. In my arms, I'm fighting to hold this, but I've got him under the armpits, fighting to hold him up, and I'm trying to do that thing because moms are really good at doing it. That little hike y'all do, you know what I'm talking about? The baby slipping a little, and you're talking to somebody, but the baby's on your hip, so you do a little hip, 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 and then you kind of. I'm trying to do one of those, but I don't know how to do it. And my whole focus the entire time is do not drop this baby. Do not drop this baby. Your life will be over. The baby's life will be, just do not drop this baby. And so I've got it like this, and I'm just holding it out, but it's slipping because it's trying to slip. It's just and it's not wiggling, but it's just it wants to be free so bad. And so I'm trying to hike it up real quick. And so I go for a quick hike up where I was I don't want to shake them, but I want to, just pop them up real quick so I can readjust my grip, right? And I also don't want to throw it. I'm not trying to put him up in the air. I'm just trying to get a little bit of distance between him and my hands so I can reposition my hands, right? And so then I try to hike him up, and right at the hike, the baby kicks me. So now he's out. He's not fully out of my hands, but he's at the tips of my fingers. And so I'm like, And now I'm holding him worse. Now, he's not upside down, but he's
definitely not right side up. Like he's kind of sideways, and this baby is so heavy that my fingers are screaming. Like, I honestly, this is so embarrassing. I'm glad nobody was looking because I was so scared I was gonna drop this baby that I was like, let me just, and so I went ahead and just slowly. Because if I drop the baby slow, it's not dropping the baby. I mean, so I was like, let me get him as close to the ground as I can while I got a grip on him, and then I can readjust from the ground. And honestly, okay, so I put him on the ground, and then I go to pick him up, because in my head I'm like, now I can really cradle him. Now I can scoop the legs and scoop the back and cradle the head and stuff like that. You know, now I can really stand up with him and hold him like a baby, right? But if I thought the baby was heavy when he was handed, trying to pick this baby up from the ground was like Thor's hammer. I don't know what. It's like the baby ate in between me holding him here and putting him down. Because trying to pick this baby up from the ground, I honestly, I had to use my legs. Like, I really had to get in squat position. I finally picked this baby up, and I'm holding him like cradled, right? But now he over here trying to slip out of the edge and be upside down. And then just then his mom walks back over, and he's upside down now. I'm holding his shoulder, and his foot is kicking my chin. And I'm holding his stomach around. And she's like, thank you so much. It's like she didn't even know. She's like, thank you so much. She just writes him up. Walks off, and I was like, what is she made of? That's a 600-pound baby.